Well, good morning, friends and dear student. Today we'll start with the chapter 3.6, Respiratory System. In this, we are supposed to learn histology of trachea and lungs only. Okay. Respiratory system as such start from the nasal passage, then glottis, epiglottis, windpipe, then branching of that windpipe and end alveoli, that is the actual surface where exchange take place, and the surrounding membranes of these lungs. Here in this diagram, just to recall all that respiratory system, this portion is a nasal passage that lead that air the ingles that lead through this trachea, which is adjacent to the esophagus, that leads into the lungs, where it gets to branch, that is called as a bronchus or primary bronchi, and that goes branching as secondary bronchi, and finally a tertiary bronchi. So all these bronchi and the trachea together called as a windpipe, and this portion that in this cavity you can see here, it is all filled with the alveolus, which is a grape-like structure where actual exchange of gases take place between the outer environment and the blood. The basic functioning of this respiratory system is to inhale and exhale of air, and this windpipe structure functions of this windpipe is it keeps that air moistened and clean. Then they transport that air to the respiratory surface. They maintain that the air should be clean without any dust particle, and all these alveolar surface that takes oxygen exchange. Olfaction is again the function of respiratory system that is related with the nasal surface area, and these epiglottis portions that is related with the functions phonotations or speaking. Here in this course, Mammalian Histology, we see histology of this trachea and histology of this alveolus and the bronchus. Here a complete respiratory system is shown. You can see the epiglottis, the trachea, and these are the cross sections or the cut portions of the windpipes, that is a bronchi or the primary bronchus. Then that primary bronchus bifurcate into the secondary, tertiary, and these are all alveolus. There are two lungs in our body. In between there is a heart located. Now here, along with this windpipe or bronchi, you will find there goes this blood supply. Similar high amount of blood supply and capillary branches and tubules are seen in a liver, because it's a site where there is an exchange of oxygen takes place between the air and the blood. So along with the all that tubules which is transport of the air, you will see a lot of blood vessels, pulmonary aorta and the pulmonary veins and their branches. These black round structures that indicate the alveoli. Now here we come to our point, that is the histology of trachea. Here they have shown the conducting airways diagrammatically. This diagram you can use for drawing in your journals or in your notebook. So here they have shown the cross section of trachea, diagrammatic representation of cross section of trachea adjacent with the esophagus. Now this trachea, you can separate this trachea histology as internal lining, internal hollow space lined with the epithelial layers. That epithelial layer is pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. I hope you remember what is that columnar, what is that? Ciliated means, stratified means, and pseudo. Here, basically, the cells are columnar type of epithelial cells. They have cilia over them. Then they are arranged in layers of one or two cells. It looks like they are arranged overlapping, but it is a fake arrangement. They are single layer, so named as a pseudostratified ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay, so this blue line indicates the epithelial layer, and if you carefully notice, there is a dark violet line at the base of this epithelium. That violet line indicates the basal membrane, which synthesize this epithelial layer. So, in if that epithelial layer get erupted, damaged, it is replaced with this new epithelial cells produced from this basal line of membrane that produce that columnar epithelial layer. Now, after that, you will see here the connective tissue layer. To that, you can call as a submucosa or lamina propria. It is full of connective tissues along with some serous glands, or you can say the bronchial glands or pulmonary glands. That function of the seromucous gland is to produce the mucus. Thereafter, this the blue color structure you can see here, it is a hyaline cartilage, a cartilage ring, a C-shaped cartilage ring, which is open where there is a adjacent location of the esophagus. These two rings are attached with each other by some muscles that is called as trachealis muscles. The function of this trachealis muscle is when we ingest some food through esophagus, when it passes through the esophagus, that time we cannot breathe. So these muscles make them that engulfing food, they adjust that engulfing food portions, they allow trachea to collapse, and after passing of food, they allow that trachea to re-expand. That way our windpipes remain all the time expanded, don't never get collapsed, and the trachealis muscles with the C-shaped cartilage, they maintain the particular diameter opening of this trachea. Now, when you go on observing the histology of these conducting airways, you will find there is slight changes in histology. With respect to this cartilaginous ring, they are entirely single C-shaped cartilage in the tracheal portion. As they branch, that cartilage become two ring structures. And as they go on advancing to secondary and structures, they are very, the amount of cartilage is very less. And finally, to the tertiary bronchioles level, we will find there is absolutely absence of this C-shaped cartilage. A cartilage is absent at the terminal portions, and it gradually reduces as we go to the terminal portions. Okay, so we'll revise this with this text, that conducting portions, lower airways, that trachea originate from the larynx and ends into the primary bronchi. Whenever we see trachea, the portion between the primary bronchi and the larynx that we are highlighting. Then the trachea histology is divided into mucosa, submucosa, hyaline cartilage, and adventitia in these four parts. The mucosa is the innermost layer of this trachea, where there is a respiratory epithelium, and the type is a ciliated pseudostratified columnar epithelium layer, and lamina propria. That lamina propria embed all these goblet cells, vessel cells, and some neuroendocrine cells. And these cells are at the innermost surface, they are lined with the cilia. Thereafter comes the submucosa. This submucosa is a dense connective tissue, and it hold or embeds with the pseudomucous glands. After that submucosa, you will see this C-shaped cartilaginous ring. It is connected with the smooth muscles called as the trachealis muscles to maintain the rigidity of that windpipe. And outermost is the adventitia, that is connective tissue that covers that cartilage and helps to attach with the surrounding tissues. Now, here in this photograph of a trachea, actual photograph of a slide TS of the trachea, here you can see all those things which we already seen, that is a mucosa, innermost lining of a pseudostratified columnar epithelial cells, thereafter the basal membrane and the submucosa where there is a lot of these sub seromucous glands are present, and thereafter there is a hyaline cartilage layer which is surrounded with the connective tissue layer that is called as adventitia. This black color portion is a ciliary epithelial layer. Again, if you want to draw diagram in your journals, you can make use of these C shapes. You can make use of these cross section. Yes. So here, while drawing it from internally struck diagram drawing of TS of this trachea, the, the pink color portion indicates the epithelial lining, right? Thereafter, the lamina propria or submucosal layer is there, which holds a lot of these glands or blood vessels and lymph vessels, nerves, everything. And up, around that, there is a C-shaped cartilage ring you have to draw without any structures, or if you want, you can show the chondrocytes in between that C-shaped ring, cartilaginous ring, and surrounded with the connective tissue sheath that is the adventitia. Now, at the end, which is open, you have to show that one end open to these C-shaped cartilage rings that is connected with the muscles, smooth muscles, that is trachealis muscles. And this is here they have shown that esophagus muscle pattern. You don't have to show that. Draw only the internal layer, some mucosa, submucosal layer, and C-shaped structures, and show the muscles layer and adventitia layer. That is enough to show the highlight the histology of trachea, TS of trachea. Now, this is here again a color photograph of trachea, TS of trachea. An entire windpipe cut into the transverse sections. Internal, this structure you can identify as hyaline cartilage, C-shaped cartilage, though it don't look intact because when we take a sections, that may go in different plane, and you will see fragmented, such fragmented C-shaped cartilage. Thereafter, the internal lining is very dark in color. That is a ciliated portion with a mucus embedded, so it looks blackish in color. This is a hematoxylin erosin stained slide. Then in this submucosa portions, you will find a blackish color portion that is again that seromucous glands and cartilage, and surrounding there is a adventitia layer. Now here at this end there is a arrangement of these trachealis muscles. You can see this red color fiber-like structure going on both the end. That fiber-like structure itself is a muscles connecting these two rings. And thereafter there are some nerves, some blood vessel opening is there. The same trachea, when you amplify or when you magnify this under the high power microscope, you see such structures. Now, just what I told you in previous slide, that hyaline cartilage identification mark is presence of two adjacent chondrocytes and surrounding matrix. This is a peculiar arrangement of a cartilage Whenever you see such structures or anywhere, you say that this is a cartilage. And if it is a C-shaped cartilage, you can identify this as a trachea. Because of this arrangement, you can clearly identify that section is of a trachea. Then this is internal portion, where if you start from the internal side, this is of the fine layer. Here you can see it is these are cilia, and these are the ciliary epithelial layers. Okay. Then this portion is the lamina propria or submucosa portions, where all that serous glands, blood vessels, lymph node are embedded. Now once again the same photograph of trachea to make clear the understanding of this arrangement. Here you can see the presence of mucus layer and the cilia, and these are the ciliated epithelial, pseudostratified ciliated epithelial cells. Here. Then these are the, this you can see here, this is a basement cell membrane, which are responsible for the immune synthesis of epithelial layers, and these are the lamina propria or submucosa with lot of glands embedded and the connective tissue. Then these portions clearly indicate this is a cartilage. Again, if you modify this portion, or if you magnify this portion under microscope, you will see such structures where these are the single cell columnar epithelial cells. Single columnar epithelial cells, and there is in between somewhere you will find there is a presence of goblet cells. These goblet cells and the cilia. Goblet cells function is to produce mucus, and cilia function is to beat in one direction. So whenever any food particle or foreign particle or dust particle enter in your trachea, that time before it reach to the alveoli or lungs, that ciliary beating starts, and the mucus helps that particle to stick over the ciliary portions. So slowly in beating upwardly directions, all that particles get removed from the windpipe.